Hi, I'm the Busy Bee Mom. Welcome to my sewing room. On the table today we have a prom dress. It's Night to Shine is coming up here, and we always have a big dress giveaway for the young ladies who get to attend Night to Shine. And this is one of the dresses we gave away, but it needs some alterations. So one of the first things I'm going to do to this dress is I have to hem it. We need to take 3 inches off the bottom. It is chiffon, which is this see-through, slinky fabric that's really hard to hem. So I'm going to do a quick video about how to tackle this hem. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark how much shorter we want it to be. So I'm not going to mark it 3 inches because then I have to roll it twice. I'm going to mark it at 2.5 because it's going to take I'm going to use up about 1/2 inch of fabric moving it up. So there's a couple ways you could do this. One way is you could just put it in your machine and sew along the 3 or the 2.5 inch line. Or that works really good actually for if you just need to take off a little bit, you can just throw it in the machine. But for wider areas, it's a little easier, I think, to mark it. So I'm taking my ruler and I'm taking it, finding about the average 2.5 along here. And then I actually just did dots because if I drag this, it'll pull the fabric and kind of pull on it. So I just went along and did dots about 2.5 inches all the way around. You don't want to use a tape measure for this because I don't have a tape measure handy, but if you have a straight strip and you're holding it up like this, you could be off crooked like this and not even realize it. So to make sure that you're at a true 90-degree angle from your hem, having a wider ruler like this, it's much better because you can make sure that you're not crooked at all. I made that mistake once, and you think it would be obvious if you weren't completely perpendicular, but I was not perpendicular as I went along. I just took my tape measure and did 3, 3, 3, 3, and then it was bad. So use something wide to make sure that you are perpendicular to your hem, and mark your dots. Then turn on your iron. Okay, we're at the ironing board now. We're going to iron it. My iron is set for, I actually think I have it on silk, which was one above nylon. You probably want to start with nylon. My iron seems to run kind of cold, so a lot of times I set it a little higher. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a row of dots. And then I want to fold it to the inside, using those dots as a guide. And then I'm going to iron it. If you need to press it for a little bit, you can. So that's first iron. And then I'm going to use some spray starch. I just have some of the cheap stuff that I get at the grocery store. I'm going to starch that and press it again. I think because I used one of those blue fabric markers, the minute I spray starch on it, those marks become invisible. So I pre-iron it, then starch it, because now my line is invisible. So you should get a nice crisp iron that way. A little bit of starch helps a lot. Okay, do that all the way around at your 2.5 inch mark or whatever you need. Okay, your next step is to sew. Do not cut yet. That's always the mistake people make, and I used to do it for years, is you mark it and you want to cut it off, and don't cut yet because all this extra fabric is adding stability. So you're going to sew very close to your stitch, very close to the edge. I actually have this line on my foot right here, so that's what I'm going to use because it just works really good. I'm not doing the whole width of the foot, but there's a nice line there. I'm going to set my stitch length just a little bit wider than normal, maybe a 3. 2 is normal, 4 is for gathering, so 3 is kind of in between. And I'm just going to stitch. Be very careful not to pull on this at all. Just let it feed in very gently. Make sure it's puckering a little bit. I'm going to check real quick. Look, I don't know if you can tell. It snagged one of the threads and pulled it. I just remembered I have no clue what needle's in here. I'm really bad at putting a special needle in and forgetting about it. I mean, I could have a denim needle in there for all I know. So I'm going to just really quick stop what I'm doing because it's snagging my fabric and pulling and tearing, and I'm going to get a good needle. let's see, what would be a good needle? I picked this up one time at the fabric store. It's great. I want probably lightweight woven. I think we'll try that one. So a 79 or an 8011 for lightweight wovens. Okay. Okay, I changed the needle in my machine and that fixed it. So I was able to sew right along the edge, just a little bit of ways, all the way around. Now you can trim. And what we're going to do though is we want to trim really close to our stitching. So you're going to get yourself a nice sharp little pair of scissors. And of course mine have disappeared. There we go. And you're going to trim. So just right along that edge there. Be very careful not to snag any of the back. Oops. Trim it really close to the stitching. There we go. Okay, we got it all trimmed off. Back to the ironing board, and we're going to iron it again. So you're going to take it wrong side up. That's this side. You're going to fold it over, and I usually like to have the stitching right along that bottom edge. We're going to press it again. So you want to press it so that that stitching's along the edge. I think my iron's not hot anymore. It went cold on me. Funny thing with auto off irons. So anyway, and you can even starch it again. The more starch the better, I always say. That is the next step. Okay, and we've pressed it and it's ready to go. We're just going to stitch it. You're going to stitch as close to that edge as you're comfortable stitching. And then you'll be done. Right about there. Okay, I'm just about done. I just wanted to show you real quick. Here's mine, and this is the way it was before. Look at how mangled they got that when they tried to go over that seam allowance. And this one too, when they went over their seam, mangled. And just, it's just a hot mess in places. The person who previously altered it, I'm assuming it didn't come that way from the store. And then here's mine looking much neater. And I did have a spot or two where I got a little too close to my edge and it fell off. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that. I'll either just hand tack that or I'll put it back in the machine and sew it. But overall, yeah, I got a little loose there. I got going too fast, I think, around that corner. Overall, I think it looks really good. So this would be the front side. You just have, you kind of see a little bit of a pulling. Not too bad. Alright, that is how I hem chiffon. Have a great day.